Today we look into one of Sweden's most notorious cases, the Knutby murders. This story is a complex web of manipulation, murder, and religious fanaticism centered around one man, Helge Fossmo. A charismatic pastor, Fossmo wielded his influence within a small Pentecostal community to orchestrate a shocking crime. His journey from a respected religious leader to a convicted murderer raises questions about power, control, and the dangerous consequences of blind faith. Helge Arnold Fossmo was born on July 27, 1971, in Sweden. Raised in a non-religious household, Helge discovered Christianity at the age of 10, becoming a born-again Christian. While in high school, Helge volunteered at a Christian youth cafe where he continued to explore and debate religion. At the age of 17, he met Helene Johansson, who would later become his wife. Helene, already a member of the Pentecostal Church of Kristinehamn, encouraged him to join the church in 1989. This newfound faith shaped his young adult life as he trained to become a pastor. After graduating, Helge enrolled in a program to study science education in the city of Karlstad, but eventually dropped out. He then returned to his hometown of Björneborg to work as a teacher at his former school. In 1993, Helge became involved with a local religious group known as Japsis, which was inspired by charismatic pastor Ulf Ekman and his Livetsord, Word of Life organization in Sweden. However, after only a few months, Helge left the group and rejoined the Pentecostal church, where he was employed as a youth pastor. During this time, he grew close to Åsa Waldau, another deeply religious individual with ambitions to establish her own religious sect. This close relationship continued to grow over the years that followed. In 1997, after being encouraged by Waldau, Fossmo, along with his wife Helene, moved to Knutby, a small village in Uppsala County, Sweden. There they became involved with the Philadelphia Church, a strict Pentecostal congregation led by a close-knit group of religious leaders, including Waldau, who by now had become a significant figure in Fossmo's life. Just 2 years after their arrival in Knutby, tragedy struck. On December 18, 1999, Helge's wife, Helene, was found dead in their bathtub. Although she had a head wound and toxicology tests showed high levels of the drug dextropropoxyphene in her system, her death was ruled accidental. However, suspicions arose later as more sinister events began to unfold. These events included the observation that Helge had quickly moved on from this tragedy, as within months of Helene's death, he remarried a woman named Alexandra, the sister of Åsa Waldau. The Philadelphia Church in Knutby was no ordinary congregation. Under the leadership of Åsa Waldau, who claimed to be the bride of Christ, the group became isolated and inward-looking. Fossmo's influence grew alongside Waldau's as he preached strict interpretations of Scripture to the faithful. It was in this setting that Fossmo's manipulation of his followers began, particularly focusing on one young woman, Sarah Svensson. Sarah Svensson first entered the Fossmo household as a nanny for Helge's children, but her role soon took an indecent turn. Fossmo began an affair with Svensson, and their relationship almost immediately became twisted by religious manipulation. Svensson, who was also married, divorced her husband within a year. When the affair came to the attention of Åsa Waldau, she expressed displeasure and encouraged fellow worshippers to shun her. However, the affair continued. During this period, Fossmo also secretly began an affair with his neighbor's wife, Annette Linde. As both affairs heated up, Svensson, who was mentally fragile, began receiving what she believed were divine messages in the form of anonymous text to her mobile phone. Svensson felt these messages were from God. Fossmo agreed with her that the messages were indeed from God, and encouraged her to follow whatever these divine messages instructed. The contents of the messages began to control her thoughts as they urged her to commit various acts of violence. What Svensson didn't know was that these anonymous messages were in fact being sent by Fossmo as a way of manipulating her to do his deeds. By 2003, Svensson's mental health deteriorated further as she became obsessed with the contents of these messages. She was being encouraged to kill Fossmo's wife, Alexandra. Following this encouragement, she attacked Alexandra Fossmo with a hammer in her sleep but was unsuccessful. Upon being caught by Fossmo and fellow worshippers, no report was made to the police. Instead, she was sent away to live with her father in Smoland after the incident was dismissed as a mental health crisis rather than an attempted murder. However, Fossmo kept in secret contact with Svensson, continuing to manipulate her through these so-called divine messages. In January 2004, Helge Fossmo's web of manipulation reached its deadly climax. On the night of January 10, 2004, Sarah Svensson entered the Fossmo home once again, this time armed with a handgun. She shot Alexandra Fossmo in the head 3 times, killing her instantly. But Svensson's violent spree didn't end there. Just moments later, she made her way to the home of Daniel Linde, the neighbor of the Fossmos and the husband of Helge's other lover, Annette Linde. Svensson shot Linde in the face, but miraculously he survived after being rushed to hospital. Fossmo's involvement in these crimes was not immediately clear. When investigators arrived, Fossmo played the role of a grieving husband, even accompanying Daniel Linde to the hospital after the shooting. But Svensson's quick confession to the police unraveled the truth. She admitted that she had been receiving anonymous messages that she believed were from God, urging her to kill. As investigators pieced together the events leading up to the murders, Helge Fossmo's carefully crafted image began to crumble. It was discovered that Fossmo had been the person sending Svensson multiple text messages every day, many of them quoting Bible verses that she interpreted as divine instructions to kill Alexandra. Police also uncovered Fossmo's affair with Annette Linde and his desire to eliminate Daniel Linde, as well as his own wife Alexandra, potentially clearing the way for a relationship with Annette. Fossmo was arrested and charged with soliciting the murder of his wife and the attempted murder of Daniel Linde. At trial, the prosecution laid out a damning case of manipulation and control. Fossmo had used his position as a pastor and his influence over a mentally unstable woman to commit murder. While Sarah Svensson had pulled the trigger, it was Fossmo who had orchestrated the entire crime. In November 2004, Fossmo was sentenced to life imprisonment. Sarah Svensson, meanwhile, was declared mentally unfit for trial and was sentenced to psychiatric care. The fallout from the Knutby murders was felt throughout Sweden. The Philadelphia church in Knutby disbanded, and Åsa Waldau's influence waned. Although Fossmo attempted to shift some of the blame onto Waldau during his trial, claiming that he had been under her control, Waldau was never charged in connection with the crimes. Sarah Svensson was released from psychiatric care in 2011, having been deemed no longer a threat to society. Fossmo, however, continued to serve his life sentence, although his appeals for parole kept him in the public eye. In 2006, he gave a public confession, admitting to his role in the crimes and expressing remorse. Despite his admission, his parole requests were denied multiple times, but his sentence was eventually shortened to 26 years. In 2022, after serving 18 years in prison, Fossmo was released. The Knutby case has left a lasting mark on Swedish society, with the story being used as a cautionary tale of the dangers of unchecked religious authority and manipulation. The events in Knutby have been the subject of multiple documentaries, including HBO's 2021 miniseries Pray, Obey, Kill, which delved into the psychological and societal impact of the murders. For many, the Knutby murders represent a chilling example of how easily power can corrupt, and how one man's charismatic leadership led to the destruction of multiple lives. Fossmo's manipulation of Sarah Svensson and his congregation is a testament to the dark side of religious zealotry, where unquestioning faith and blind loyalty can turn deadly. The story of Helge Fossmo and the Knutby murders is one of manipulation, fanaticism, and tragedy. It shows how easily a seemingly devout man can twist faith into a tool of control, leading to unimaginable consequences. Today, we are left with many questions. How could such a crime have gone unnoticed for so long? And what drives someone to use religion as a weapon? These questions continue to haunt those affected by the events in Knutby, even as Fossmo himself walks free.